Welcome back to the Rising Podcast. I'm Xavier, and you're joined here with KaBria and Cayman. Black person of the day.
Of course, let me go first. You feel me?
Welcome back to the Rising Podcast and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How was y'all New Year? What y'all do? Yeah, I know what he did. in the bed by 10:30, which is crazy.
That is, wild. I had a very different New Year than I've had in the past. A very sober, chill New Year, making my hibiscus mocktail. So
your what?
I had a sober New Year's.
But you say making your what?
Hibiscus mocktail.
Explain.
So it's just hibiscus tea, a lime LaCroix, and some lemonade.
Oh, no Hennessy in there. With a dash of Hennessy.
It's the mocktail.
Mocktail.
It's a fake, mocktail.
Fake.
That's a fake cocktail.
All right. How was your New Year's, Xavier?
Okay. With the agave.
Okay.
I spent New Year's in the Sherry's parking lot, eating my sour cream lemon pie and watching the fireworks go off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, huh? I be forgetting there should be fireworks. What did Sacramento do? We did fireworks.
Yeah, I just saw a bunch of fireworks. And then
I think they did that all the time downtown. The fireworks.
Yeah.
I think I went down there one year.
Really, I forgot. Like I was looking at TikTok and they were showing what other cities were doing, like Dallas, Seattle, at certain places, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But I don't know why. I only think New York does something. So
usually I think it's the Rivercat Stadium, that area. They'll do the fireworks, and then just people just buying fireworks themselves, doing it at their house.
Hey,
but usually the Rivercast for sure.
Somebody in Sacramento call us. The Rising is free to host a New Year's party, December 31st, 2024. Hit us up.
That would be
bro.
hella fun, honestly. I didn't even think
would.
about New Year's and fireworks. I don't know why. I just never thought about that.
Well, because I don't see no fireworks stands for New Year's. I think that's more if you know a distributor or if you just buy a bunch from 4th of July still.
Yeah, you're right.
Kept them left over.
Yeah, just got them left over. I'm gonna need these for the New Year's.
Yeah,
because I'm almost where are people buying these fireworks at right now?
Yeah, you're right. And I was like, that's
only the government.
That's why it'd be cool to have sparklers.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about it because my mom, she still got her cupboard full of a bunch of sparklers from 4th of July, but I was like, what I was gonna do sparklers and eat pie in the parking lot.
I mean, hey, good time's a good time. What the heck?
That is facts.
I know, what the heck.
Yeah.
People be saying stuff don't sound fun until they do it. It's fun.
All right, guys, we got a lot of topics for them today. Make sure you guys like and subscribe so we can give you guys more great content.
Yeah, there's a lot.
During this year.
Are we
have
doing
a lot.
Are we doing one or two minutes a piece on this topic?
I know, quick topic.
No, we'll just go with the flow and see how many we get through. I kind of know what I want us to get to.
So
I feel like I have a lot to say about the color purple, so maybe let's just get that.
All right, let's go. The color purple.
The color
release.
purple. Did you wear the color purple to go see the movie?
My mom, she was like, "Boy, you did not coordinate." I forgot to wear my colors, but either way, I don't got no purple. But
I had purple, but I didn't think I'm like, why the fuck?
Y'all wore purple to the movie?
I guess that was a thing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
you know black people. You know black people.
Just like to do something.
Right.
Yeah. But
so what did y'all think of the film?
Okay. We all went on Christmas morning. Not Christmas morning, but Christmas.
I went Christmas evening during the Raider game. Thanks, Mom.
So you went Christmas.
Love you. I went Christmas, yes.
You did too.
Christmas.
Were we in the same theater? I went to you.
Oh no, I was out.
He said I was outside.
I went to the studio movie grill.
Okay.
Out there, had me a little burger, a little hamburguesa. You feel me?
That's what I'm talking about. I've been trying to tell my family you have elevated experiences, but I didn't really want to see it. I'm not gonna lie about it.
Me
either.
So. I think.
Wait, did you watch the first one?
Yeah, of course.
You seen it back in the day?
That's when you said it.
No, I didn't watch the first one.
That's my family's favorite fucking movie. That's
my
why
mom loves it too.
Yeah, that's why when you guys said you never seen it, I was like, what? My family quotes it back to back. It's one of those movies. Yeah,
The Color Purple was released in 1982, I believe. So it's a little bit past me. I liked the 90s movies, but I was never going back to that. I think Xavier said the same thing. We would see reruns on maybe BET or something, but I'm never going to watch that from front to start. That was never something. So what did you guys think of?
Did you watch it after watching it?
No.
The original?
It made me more intrigued too.
It's on Prime too right now. Too.
Did you watch it?
No, I didn't. No.
Okay. So this is gonna be an interesting review because me and my coworkers just talked about it today.
I've seen bits and pieces of it enough to know a few of like the more notable quotes from the original,
right?
But not enough to where like I don't think I really knew what The Color Purple was about until I watched this, and I was like, when it came in, what did you say in the group chat? He said, "I did not know Color Purple was just the Avengers for black women,"
right?
And I was like, yeah. I was like, it's like black women post-slavery finding themselves in a new oppressive class, but of their husbands, who are now like taking on that new form of oppressor,
and their fathers and
just
their
men
fathers
in general.
Wow.
Yeah,
that control their life.
Still in a point of time where fathers were selling their daughters for money, and it's just like wow. It's just like a weird concept to think about, and it makes it even weirder for me when they get real deep into it. They get real deep in their domestic violence bag, and then they start Broadway singing and dancing. It kind of just throws it off for me. It's like, well, I was feeling doom and gloom, and all of a sudden you got a little pep in your step, and you're dancing hard. It kind of like takes a little bit away from the experience. And I was talking to Cayman about that, and he was like, well, it comes from like the Broadway play.
Right.
And I was like, I get that.
She saw it. I never saw it.
Yeah, my mom's seen it on Broadway too. But it's like,
so she liked it. Huh?
She likes it. My mom likes it. Yeah,
she liked it.
She liked all of it. But she was like, "You want to go again?" I was like, "Okay, calm down." But
but
it's like,
absolutely not.
I feel like going to a Broadway play is more theatrical. You're going for more of an experience versus watching a musical in a movie theater.
I agree.
So like, I feel like the singing or the music aspect of the movie kind of just muddled the message for me, because you're not as invested in the costumes and the theatrics, because like when you go to a play, it's like you are being transported into that world.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't get that, or at least for me, I didn't get that same like I don't know what to say, like
excitement or like
like that same excitement.
Like, I feel it. Yeah, I just don't like musicals, and like
I don't either, unless it's High School Musical.
I'm hella weak. Yeah. Other than the music, so you didn't like the storyline? What did you take
why
away
did
from
Sierra
the film?
come out looking like that at the end? That shit,
what you mean?
I don't know why. That shit was just a funny.
It just bothered you.
It didn't even bother me. I was just like,
it was such a short.
I'm like, Sierra. And the movie, in the first of all, I was like, why did they go to Africa?
Oh my gosh, because you have to watch the original.
They just hopped on a boat. They just hopped on a sailboat and went to Africa.
The original.
But they just hopped on a sailboat and went to Africa.
So confusing, like, because like her sister after Mr. Oh my gosh,
and then
kicked her
out.
All
right?
stood around
I
a
don't
tree
know why
and singing.
I'm like blanking on the names right now. But when she was trying to find a home, in the that's what I'm saying. If you didn't watch the original, it's hard to follow the actual remake. Like, you can follow the remake, but it's better if you watch the original because you're able to follow it better, if that makes sense. Because in the story when she had the baby and then she went to the one pastor's wife, she was like, oh, is the baby Olivia or whatever? I'm trying to think if I was in the new one. But anyway, her sister ran away, right? And then she ran to got taken in by that family, and they were pastors, you know, and then they went to Africa like on a mission. And then at that time, that's when they realized that she was with her sister's kids, because they were adopted her, and that's why they're in Africa. And they're on moving, mission, doing church stuff.
So KaBria, compared to the first one, how did you like this one?
How did I like this one?
Remake?
I think it was like to Xavier's point. I think it was just watered down, but I just feel as if The Color Purple is like the original is such a traumatic film and depressing film that I don't think they would have been able to remake it in this day of age without being canceled. And that's the hard truth. I don't think at all they would have been able to even put the original Color Purple, just remake it with new actors and actresses, and boom, expect it to be great, because it's filled with so many layers of, like, to me, very traumatic and like inappropriate shit, but it's the reality of a lot of like Black people's like ancestors.
What do you guys think about this story being told in 2024 then? And like remakes, even we've been seeing the remix of remakes coming, right. very, very recently, Coming to America.
That was good. I like Coming to America.
I liked it
Bad
too.
Boys 4 or 3, whichever one. But just to name, it came out. It came out years and years ago. But just to name a few of those that are being remaked,
really big,
10, 15, 20 years after the original. So what do you guys think about even like something like this being told in 2024.
I mean, well, that's like one of their favorite lights to see black people in is like one of the OG oppressive states, just like really under white people's thumbs. Like they really love that gas station scene.
This your girl
when Sophia got picked up by that white lady, and it's just like I'm just so tired of like the experiences of black people that are portrayed in the media or in movies and TVs just being so linear and limited to like one aspect of history. Yeah, and it's just like there's so even in like when they tried to do like the new movie. I'm gonna try not to cuss.
Okay.
So the new movie with the magical Negroes. It's like we can't even have a movie to ourselves without it being solely about literally the movie is solely about black people using their powers to make white people's lives better, because in return that makes our lives better because we don't have to worry about white people attacking us.
If the movie didn't come out yet, how you know what it's about?
Because the commercial
preview
commercial.
But how you judge the whole
but you're right. Like maybe we should wait till it comes out. But I promise it's probably gonna hit Amazon or like Netflix.
I'm not watching. I'm not about to watch.
But I'm just saying. I don't think. Yeah. To the
let's
point.
Just.
Like,
I'm just saying. Let's
judge off the title alone.
They should have did a better sample audience. You know, like how they test it out, and they probably should do like a early release, a special showing, just to get a temperature check.
Call Blam
because it's because I was surprised. Like once you kind of
know.
said something, I think we had to message in the group chat. I was like, huh. And then, but anyway, back to your point, like as far as like remixes and like, you know, the story, whatever, I feel like it was cool in a sense to keep that aspect of the black community, like in this new generation, but it did feel as if it still was for like the aunties and like moms of our generation as well, because I feel like our generation never really held on to it as much. But I think it could also be coming from the fact of where we're at in this day of age as far as like trauma and like breaking generational curses and having conversations. Like it was a good outlook and experience for like, you know, people's sexual abuse, trauma in their family, fathers, etc., like women needing to be together, domestic abuse, blah blah blah, not blah blah blah, but you know, real experiences. Right. But I feel like they also have to realize like, oh, we have to pivot and tell the story in a way that, you know, keeps it acceptable in a sense,
right?
Or that's kind of how I felt.
Makes people too uncomfortable,
right? And I think it just was watered down.
Yeah.
I was just when I was watching it, I was just like, like the scene. Why am I blanking on the sister's name? Celie and
who, the one that played Holly?
Yeah. Why am I blanking on her name?
Anyway, you saw both films?
I did. That's the crazy part. But like when they had the whole scene between the sisters, like I feel like they should have spent more time on that, on the fact that they were broken apart by Mr., because that was like a really big part of the original movie, and it really explained like her sister's experiences away from her and like trying to figure out community and finding love when, you know, you can't find that in your family because of what they did, then you can't find it because your sister's not there, and then your community is not accepting of you, and so I think it was a lot. And then in addition to that, I just feel like, Sierra's part like was just so short, and like it didn't really have the same impact as like when you're reunited with someone that you had like mad love for, who was always there for you. You know, it didn't have that sibling like reunited, like we really were torn apart and now we're together. Like I feel like they should have spent more time on that. But other than that, I thought like everyone played the hell out their characters. The singing was fucking great. Like it was a really good cast. But
I think it was for, like you guys said, it was for the aunties, and it served that purpose. I think the aunties left that movie theater satisfied with what they seen, with the singing, with the triumph. I kind of understand what you're saying with the singing part of the movie. The only pushback I would have is, like, throughout history, our people have been oppressed and have had that feeling of like sadness, of like defeat, of like sorrow, and you've always been in that mode. But black people have always had to figure out how to pull themselves up out of that, and singing and like that kind of inspiration has always been something that has uplifted black people throughout the years. So even though it's kind of like that corniness of like, oh, Broadway and you're singing, it's like still kind of sending that message from what I perceived from it was like, no matter what, we still have these strong women in in our culture that will pick themselves up no matter what has happened, and I think that message is powerful. But I get what you're saying with the overall message and scheme.
Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't as dark though, because it was just like that whole storyline is like, dang,
bro. What's the point of even remaking the movie if you're not gonna
Oprah
portray
money grab?
Yeah, that's obviously all it is.
Oprah money grab. I'm sorry.
Because what's the point of remaking a movie if you're not gonna portray it in like its like most like natural essence? Like if we're trying to portray a movie and really look at the lives of black women in that state of history,
right?
Why are we gonna show a watered down version of that?
True that.
In that case, bro, she could have just put The Color Purple, the original, back at Delta Shores. Put it back in the movie theaters.
Oh, to get people.
Yeah, like a remastered version of the original. Mm-hmm. It's just like obviously, people just want to make money. People want to make money, but honestly,
yeah, I feel you couldn't really touch that. Like Color Purple is like one of those movies like you either seen it or you didn't, and it's like but it's part of like the black community, And I feel like this, to the point, it was kind of a money grab. It was kind of opening up an experience for more cultures as well, if that makes sense. Because I just feel as if like this was just, I don't know, like in my family, like Color Purple is just like, it's just that movie in my family, So I don't know any other way to put it. Like I never heard like another race. Well, I mean, I don't know why they would, but speaking about The Color Purple is so great. Right, so I think this just allowed room for conversation too, but uncomfortable room for conversation.
Yeah. All right.
Well, how long till we're remaking Precious?
Give
it like another 10 years.
Respectfully, based on like what happened with Taraji and what happened with Monique, I think Oprah and who produced that? Was it Lee Daniels?
Lee Daniels.
Yeah, they need to just chill out for a second.
They won't. They money hungry people.
No, that movie was cause I thought, was it supposed to be a Precious too, or I thought it was like following like after, I don't know.
No, they don't need that.
That was also a very sad
another movie that recently hit the airways, actually on Netflix, was Leave the World Behind. A lot of people were talking about it not only because of the movie, but because of the role that President Obama and Michelle had as executive producers of the film as well. So I recently just watched it. It had to be last week. I was late, but what did you guys think about Leave the World Behind? The overall meaning, the message, Obama's role in that. How'd y'all feel about that?
I did like the movie. There were a lot of hidden gems in the movie as far as like connections to real life scenarios and what's going on in politics or in social media currently, and just having the president of the United States and Michelle Obama as well, executive producing a movie that can be construed as a Civil War movie enticed by the American government. It's a little unsettling. But it was a very interesting movie to watch in the sense of like what I've always kind of said is people like to fantasize over like the revolution and being free of government and on our own, and it's like, dude, if we did that, most of us are gonna die. We don't know how to farm. Right. We don't know how to sanitize our own or distill our own water, grow our own food. And it's like we do realize that like rich people have been building bunkers for years. Mm-hmm. If we're free from the government, how long is it gonna take for some rich nigga with a bunker to use his money to fund a little army and then make his own cities and do the same thing all over again? So it's like there's other stuff in society we need to figure out first.
I didn't think about that.
Before we start focusing on stuff like that. So watching that movie, it was interesting to see because I feel like most of the American society is that, I don't remember his name, but the white dad. Mm-hmm. We are that white dad. Without our phone. I
don't know what the we.
Oh.
There's a lot of other things.
No, but what
I mean, in the sense of like, without our phone, without any connection to society, we are a little helpless. We don't. He got like in the scene where he was going to check to see what's going on, and he didn't have his GPS, and he got lost on that strip. And when he came back home, and they're like, "Bro, where was you at?" He didn't want to tell him like, "I got lost." He was like, "Oh,
Or like the scene when he finally gave up, and his son was in the car, and his teeth had just fell out, and he didn't know what to do, and he was talking to the neighbor, and he was like, "Hey, I'm just like a guy that's just trying to get his son. Like, I don't know anything. I wasn't prepared like you. But it was just that sense of, hey, I don't know what the F I'm doing here now. Like, I have no purpose. You're the one that's the military guy. You know, the ones that always are prepared for some World War III type stuff to happen.
I don't go camping.
I don't know nothing about that. Can you please help me? And I feel like you said, a lot of Americans are at that point where it can get really scary if some stuff like that happens.
Yeah, take that iPhone out their hand for a second and niggas act confused. I was like, oh, hold on.
Right.
Wait, what is my name? And it's like, boy. But it was a really interesting movie. What did you think about it?
Yeah. I mean, no lie, I did fall asleep on it, but I do fall asleep on a lot of movies, and I had to rewatch it. I mean, I thought it was cool. It's a very interesting concept. I mean, the way it's shot, you could definitely tell that a lot of people are taking a lot of influence, or are influenced by a lot of the new directors, and so I do appreciate the kind of nods and of like Jordan Peele, because I thought at first, I'm like, am I watching a film by him? And I was like confused for a second, but then I'm like, oh, like he's been able to influence like a whole nother genre of horror, or like what is it called, thrillers, in a sense where you have this feeling watching it, but you don't know like why you have that feeling, what's going on, until like last minute, and then leaving it open-ended for people to like actually interpret and whatnot. And but to your point, I think it was very interesting in regards to like the themes that were going on, like as you mentioned, the reliance on technology, pop culture, I would say disconnection between people as well. I think that's something that could be discussed, because they had this one scene where he's driving and then he sees like the pamphlets falling, or he runs into the lady first and then she's speaking Spanish to him, and he can't even, you know, relate to her or like understand what she's saying, and then seeing the pamphlets falling. And I think it was also, and then also like the use of friends, it's like we have this reliance of technology where we can use it to either connect with each other or stay in our own world, and it's like we're staying in our own world in a sense, which I mean, I don't know, now that I'm talking about it, maybe that's also like leaving the world behind in a sense, because you're forced to be in this one bubble that you created when you have access to connect with other worlds or whatever, but now you don't have that access anymore, and now it's hard for you to adjust. And it could be also reflected with the white family and the black family when they came, and it's like, hey, challenging each other's worlds. And then when they met up with the military guy, when they met up with the lady who speaks Spanish, like I think it was a lot of social commentary, and then also like, you know, just weird to me, like. But other than that, like, I mean, I wasn't that like impressed. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't like woohoo, the best movie that I've seen. Like, oh my gosh, okay. It was just like, okay, that's dope that they produced this, and it's really like thought, you know, provoking. But other than that, it's just like, okay.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, it wasn't to me. It wasn't like, ooh, I love this movie, or I want to talk about it all the time.
Right. The Obamas thing really did. It was kind of like an eye raiser. Even if they just read the script and then stamped their name on it, it's still kind of like, you hold secrets that nobody else holds. You hold secrets that only 5-6 other men have held. And what are you trying to say, bruh?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but really, I don't think it's that deep. It's like when you think about it, it's just like,
yeah.
They were saying it like already before, like China, like Russia's interference with our elections. It's like, and then we're having a reliance on technology. When you think about it, we're on the internet. The internet we didn't have protection for people using the internet, and now we're realizing, oh shoot, cybersecurity. Now we have AI. It's like we're not able to keep up with technology. So for me, it was like, duh, this shit could possibly happen. Like, if I'm really good at code, there's hella people who already be like hacking stuff now, and we don't even know how to keep them from hacking shit. So it's like, to me, it's like, if someone really wanted to, they could do some damage.
Well, for me, I took it less from like a domestic terrorist or like just like a cyber terrorism attack, and more of like just more of like observation of how the government treats their public, and how they are, you know, they're purposely causing these rifts and these divides so that we are less trusting of each other, and so that we are more easily manipulated in a sense of like, when there is no communication, when there is some misinformation, we are that more easily riled up and mistrusting, because we already don't trust our neighbors. We already don't have any viable communication amongst one another. Yeah. And then like when he was saying, he was like, I was talking to this one defense contractor, and he was talking about if a society is unstable enough, if you are able to just wipe out a few things like their communication and their access to media or their access to knowledge, they'll kind of just dismantle them. They'll dismantle themselves. Yeah. And I was like, I honestly really do agree with that, because even in the movie, we were just able to see just how quick, with the power going out and the internet going out, how quick people were just in a frenzy and rushing home, and how quick they were to, disregard another person just because they were confused on what is going on around them. But one thing about the movie I really didn't like is how it kind of had me siding with a racist. And it was like in the beginning of the movie when like the black family,
I'm not letting him in.
Him and his daughter are coming back to their house, and like you can definitely tell the wife's like being a little racist, a little just like, who are these niggas? But I was like, dang, I'm kind of like
conflicted.
I'm conflicted, right? Because I'm like, why are these niggas here right now? You didn't want to text, but the Wi-Fi is out, but we don't know that yet.
Right.
And it's like I kind of agree with her, but like she is doing way too much right now, and I can tell like this is a little bit back behind something else. But I was like, oh my gosh, thank you for her being wrong in the end. I would have turned the movie off if they ended up actually being some thieves and robbing the house. But overall, I did like the movie, and there is another A24 movie coming out about the Civil War. So it is just a lot of Civil War talking. And then when Trump got banned in Colorado off the ballot, white people, his fan base up in uproar talking about this is going to be the catalyst for the next Civil War. So
they mean race war? I'm confused.
Well, of course they mean race war.
I'm just saying, like, I'm like confused at this point. Like the Civil War, I'm like, are they trying to say race war, which is like?
Wasn't that the last Civil War?
I mean, I don't know.
The first Civil War. The first Civil War was a race war.
It wasn't about slavery, according to what's her name. It was not about slavery.
You know what else I didn't like about the movie?
Oh,
I like the. No, you got
it. I know, kind of almost went out of red there.
I like the endings where it's like, oh, what's going on? But for the girl to to find a bunker and then just start watching Friends, and then the movie to end.
Right, but then
that kind of pissed me off.
She said F them.
That
I don't think it was like,
I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, it would piss me off too, like watching it. But like at the time, it was like during all this craziness, she was like, she's a child in the situation, and the fact that the adults weren't even like paying attention. Right. To me, that was more alarming, in my opinion. And then it was interesting because on the flip side, the black family was like, Dad. Like she was like, Dad, like it's just me and you. Like you need to focus. And he kind of did the same thing in a sense. And I was just like, what is going on? Which I don't know if there's some commentary there, but to me it was like she wanted to watch Friends. I think it also like Friends was very interesting put in there because I feel like there's like this whole wave of people who are
just
like
love
really
Friends.
obsessed with Friends.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting and it connected with the audience, but it could have been to something bigger.
America's Show.
But
I watched a little thing on that because they were talking about, because that was the last episode of Friends, and it's talking about how it was the amount of cast members in that Friends episode is the same amount of cast members that were in this movie, and it's how we're all watching these characters on their separate path, and by the end of the movie we kind of want to have this realization of where they come in the end, now that they've been able to go on their own paths and like have their own story. And like, just I don't know, I didn't watch Friends.
Me neither.
So we don't have to ask Fox because that's his show.
Right.
But
my sister
I would if I was her dad, I'm like, girl, you didn't even save me a box.
But it's like, it's like, what do you do at that point? Like, oh, I would feel shitty as a parent. I'd be like, yeah, I did kind of, I'm like, and not pay attention to like the kid in the situation.
But the door is open. You hear me out here screaming your name, and you gonna run downstairs and turn a TV show on?
Yeah, facts.
And then you couldn't even come and just go outside in here, and then run downstairs. Like that's crazy.
It was crazy. I guess it was beautiful seeing the families come together, but it did kind of piss me off like a little bit. Like once the family, like she was just like, I feel like the black actors that they did choose, it was kind of that you couldn't read them, and I think that was like what was uneasy about it.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was just kind of like interesting, like the race show like themes that they were exploring as well.
Right. So what do you guys think about last thing on this and we'll move on. What do you guys think of Community when it comes to people, just when it comes to interactions? I honestly feel as a 25-year-old adult, I want to have less and less interactions with people just in general. Like, I don't want to be bothered when I'm going to get food or like when I'm at the grocery store. I want to do things as quick as possible to not be around people as much. And maybe that does isolate yourself in certain circumstances. But what do y'all just think about community, people in general, our generation, how we interact with each other in this fast-paced world that we live in?
Right. Well, I mean, I feel you in a sense in regards to like being around a lot of people. I feel like after the pandemic, I do feel kind of like overwhelmed. Like, for example, like New Year's, I was at Target, or New Year's I was at Target, and I was at the liquor store, and it was just, I was picking up something for someone else. So, it was just like so many people that it kind of like made me like kind of like, okay, I just want to get in and get out because it's just overwhelming, like the noise and stuff like that. But I also feel as if it's different, and I wonder if there's like a study on it, because I feel as if once our generation like finding a home or like really being connected to our community and actually knowing our neighbors or doing more community events, I wonder if that would be different, because I have days where I can be very talkative, chat it up with people and stuff like that, but that's because I feel like, you know, that's just like how I was kind of raised. I'm a more optimistic person when it comes to interacting with people. Like, I don't really, my first thought isn't, oh, this person's gonna hurt me. I don't know how to explain it. So for me, it's easy for me to have like a regular conversation with someone if they're open and willing, or like try to make someone's day in a sense and treat them like a human, especially when I go to the store. But it's like, it is overwhelming. I feel like now I am doing like a lot of things by myself and like getting to be cool with myself. But I feel like our generation is just not as like community based or as outgoing. And I don't know if it's the internet. I don't know if it's the pandemic. I don't know what the fuck it is.
I think it's everything.
No.
And I also do think it has a little bit to do with, like, you know, growing up, a lot of your friends that you had speaking for myself, a lot of the friends that I had growing up were the friends that I went to school with, or the friends that were in my community. So when I was playing outside, they were playing outside. So we would just play together. So now it's like, once you graduate high school, and it's like if you do go to college, it's now you're just so focused on what you have to do. You're going to school, going to work, going to spend time with your family, if you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever significant. And it's just like, you just have so much limited, or you just have this finite amount of time to spend with your family or friends or within your community, while also still trying to do what you need to do to better yourself and better your life. So it's like that fast-paced work environment, or that work-life imbalance is like intentionally in place to kind of dismantle any type of community congruentness.
I don't know, that's a big word.
Because it's like
Put that
you do that on purpose?
100%. Because if you give people the time to like focus on what they actually want to focus on, people are gonna realize that, you know, what they want to focus on is not working for 95% of their life. Right. And it's like, then what's gonna happen? Like, oh, production's gonna go down, and it's like,
I think that's a lie, because there was a pandemic when we worked from home. I think production was still high, but we weren't in the office as much.
And they were trying to get our ass back to work as fast as possible, because there wasn't people spending money at stores anymore. These companies, these corporations weren't making money like that as much. Amazon was, but like nobody was going to Target like that, or if they were, it's like what they needed was sold out in the first place. And it's just like, we already know at the end of the day, these corporations act at the behest of money. Facts. Money is always never gonna work in the favor of people like us.
Exactly. And it's like, I'm a witness of 2020 and of individuals in a panic mode, and I'm working in a retail store that has essential needs. And I'm seeing people going crazy over toilet paper. I'm seeing people fight over toilet paper. And when I'm talking about community, I'm talking about individuals in community.
They're really fighting?
Yes, people are fighting over toilet paper in the stores in 2020.
And what sparks that? It sparks that just that constant influx of information. You don't know what's true. You don't know what's not true. People are talking about, if you get COVID, you're going to have explosive diarrhea the whole time. People are like, oh, I need to get as much toilet paper as possible. Now you go to the store to get toilet paper, and the shelves are just bare because people are just acting on like this information of I don't know if this is true or not, because it's like we live in this, what do they call it, a duopoly. I don't know. I'm just using words.
But like real teacher,
because we just a two-party system. We have our Republicans, we have our Democrats. We know we have these other parties, but we don't really have these other parties.
Right.
And it's like we have the Republicans who we know just be lying to our face, and then
I don't think Republicans are lying to their face. I think they're lying about how they want to solve issues in a sense.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I'll take lying and misleading.
He did a lot of
lying is misleading. I'll take it the same way, because the same way Trump was telling people to not wear a mask and wearing masks is pointless. As soon as he got caught with COVID, that boy had a mask on. As soon as he got caught with COVID, that boy got vaccinated. But he was telling his base the exact opposite. It's just like because we already know. Just speaking more for like the Republicans, or just speaking more for like Trump's fan base, or his voting base, whatever. We know that they don't vote for Trump because they agree with his policies. They vote for Trump because they affirm something that they already believe. They give them some sense of, oh, there's someone out there doing and saying the things that I believe on the inside. Because you can look at his base and what they believe policy wise, and you will have people who are pro-abortion and anti-abortion voting for Trump, who is anti-abortion. If you're anti-abortion, why are you voting for somebody who's pro-abortion? You're not even voting.
I thought he was pro-abortion.
That nigga's.
I thought he was like, I don't know. Trump is interesting. I thought he was like, he was.
No,
like,
I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that's why it was weird, because
he said it, but he was
because
like,
his voting base is white men and a lot of white women. And then,
but people don't know it's a lot of poor people of color too.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying.
But that's what people don't know, because black people.
Red said that.
Yeah, but a lot of black people that I know fucked with Trump.
Yeah,
so that's also the ignorant part, where it's like, oh, it's white poor people, but it's like there's some black people, because Trump was already embedded in the black community for so long that it was just, he played on that very well. I would say.
And then using his prior
Ice Cube.
Yeah, using these.
Lil Wayne.
Don't get me started on these capitalist Negroes.
Kanye. I'm just saying these
Nazi niggas. But it's like using for Trump's, like using his his already established status in the black community for being on Fresh Prince, or working with the on the Apprentice, where they had a lot of minorities on that show as well. Use that. Coupled with
Donald Trump,
music, using that coupled with just straight up misinformation, like what Sexy Red was talking about. Oh yeah, we love Trump in the hood. He was out there giving us these stimulus checks, and it's like, dude, the Republicans literally voted against the stimulus checks. He didn't give that to y'all because he wanted to give that to y'all. He had to give that to y'all, and didn't even give us the full amount.
But that's what makes Trump. And what he does, and the marketing side and the politics side of just the world, very
people are just too easily
interesting.
I watched. Needs to be studied.
I watched the doc. I actually watched a doc on Donald Trump and his whole family, and how he rose from where he was.
That instead of the color purple.
Yeah, I watch every single political doc there is. There's a lot on HBO Max. Went over Obama's presidency, over Bill's, everybody's, but. Going to his and seeing how his family campaigned and how they campaigned, it was kind of talking about what Xavier was talking about, when I'm going to vote for something that I'm comfortable with. So if Trump's son is doing a rally and he says, I'm going to keep your guns, everybody's going to agree with that, because they think that because Democrats want gun control and they want to regulate how you can obtain a gun, those people think that Democrats are trying to take their Second Amendment right away from them.
Which is literally impossible.
Which is just impossible and misinformation. Same thing on Sexy Red's side. You see really Donald J. Trump, who was very smart, who was a very smart individual, who was a very smart individual, and put his name on that stimulus check. That was a smart move. And that kind of segues us
crazy.
Into
people
our
really
next...
looked at the check, because you know what? I think, did I get it direct? I didn't even get the check. It was direct deposit for me.
I got direct deposit, I'm pretty sure.
That kind of segues.
So that's why. Maybe I didn't give a fuck, because I'm like, I have a bank like a fucking. Let me be clear. Some people don't have bank accounts, but you know, it's hard not to have a bank account in 21st century.
Right. That segues me into my next topic, which is actually talking about our president right now, President Biden.
Yes.
As you guys know, he is 81 years old. He's kind of old. And recently at a fundraiser, this is what Donald Trump. I'll just read the article for you guys.
Biden.
President Joe Biden.
And where's the article from? We cannot be acting
it's
like
from
we didn't get
CNN
it.
Politics. It's from CNN Politics.
Okay.
You want me to send it to you?
No, I just want to make
so.
sure our viewers know that you're not reading like some weird,
We'll put the article right here.
You know, unknown source.
President Joe Biden told Democrat donors Tuesday he wasn't confident he'd be seeking another term if his predecessor, Donald Trump, wasn't running for the White House. A notably candid assessment of his re-election rationale as he enters a likely rematch with his 2020 rival. And I quote, "If Trump wasn't running, I'm not sure I'd be running," he said, saying Democrats cannot let him win. The comment made during a fundraiser at a private home outside Boston offered perhaps the starkest rationale to date for Biden's re-election decision-making. And according to sources familiar with the matter, took senior Biden campaign officials and advisors by surprise.
Bro, that puppet don't even want to run no more.
So my question for you guys is, what do you guys think about him running and not really even wanting to run, according to what he said to donors?
Oof. Well, if he doesn't run, I'm pretty sure a Republican is going to win, because Gavin Newsom said, hand on the Bible, I am not running at
He
all.
don't want the smoke.
He's not running. And it's like, I feel like if we...
He had a taste of it, though. I think it's a lot. I think it's training.
For sure. But like, it's like, if we put who's running, then Kamala, and it's like...
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
they couldn't even get a white woman in there.
So you're saying
not getting a
that
black woman
Joe
in
Biden
there.
for the Democrats at this stage and age in 2024, where Democrats are supposed to be this new party that's supposed to show this new vision of what the American dream is really supposed to be, this melting pot, this lovely nation. You're telling me that an 81-year-old man is the only source for that party?
Well, let me go ahead and...
I mean, how old is Trump going to be? Ain't they around the same?
74, 70 something?
No, he's like, or I think he's 80. I think he's 77 or something like that.
Oh.
So ain't that about the same age?
The same age, yeah.
The same age that
but
Biden was when
but
he
the thing
got
is,
elected last
one
year?
can't put a sentence together.
Yeah.
And Trump is good with the wordplay and can attack you and do all that. So he can be very combative.
Physically and verbally.
Physically and verbally. So it's kind of like, Dems, do you guys have anybody else for us? Or
Right.
No, we were relying on freaking Marianne Williamson, who is pro-Israel. We relying on Cornel West, who I really still I really have not heard too
and
much.
he's independent, so it's not like
He changed his party like twice already.
Did he?
He was originally
is he a Democrat now?
No, he was originally under like some party, and I was like, dude, I've never even heard of that. And then he changed it to whatever he's running for now, and it's just like, if Trump, oh no, I'm screaming. if Trump doesn't run, and then Biden's like, okay, if Trump doesn't run, I'm not running, then it's like, bro, who's about to be president? DeSantis?
Don't nobody want the seat.
Like DeSantis? Like, what are we talking? Nikki Haley? Who's the?
Don't be saying that. You were talking about that one. You like her? What's her name? Was she dead?
Who?
I forget. Anywho. I mean, to the point, kind of what I'm hearing is the fact that I don't think that the Democratic Party or like the status quo in Washington, D.C., whatever, the fucking president machine took into account that it needed to have some major fixes to keep up with the generation and the American people and where we're at today. And that's point blank, period. I mean, I like what I'm seeing when it comes to Newsom in regards to allowing to kind of give him more experiences and mentor him in order to be fit for the president role, because that's how I see it. I don't really know why he's doing all that exposure, etc. To me, it kind of just says like, hey, if this is your goals in the future, this is a good like way for you to get a taste of like what's going to be expected of you, just to test the waters out. And I think that's what we're lacking. We're lacking the fact that, one, getting people into the government that actually should run, but also getting for president, but also, and I'm saying Congress, excuse me, let me just not be very blanket with that statement, but also seeing the lack of mentorship and what we're seeing is the gatekeeping that has occurred. And this is the result of the gatekeeping. And then you have, to your point, our generation, which is like, our choices are once again two white men at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is that the norm? And then you're questioning it, which is confusing voters and, you know, not seeing their interests reflected in their politicians, etc. But then on the flip side, you don't want to be in a position where we were at when Trump won, which is where we had like 14 fucking candidates and we had to narrow them down. And that's how we lost votes and people kind of going their own way in the Democratic Party. But then also that's where we kind of got the student loan forgiveness. So it's like great things come.
And then stripped away.
I mean, they're working on it. I mean, I have faith, but not a lot. But I do have faith because there was some forgiveness that has occurred. But I mean, to your point, I just feel like, back to your point, I think Biden was just being honest, like straight up, like, you know what, if it was a better option, I wouldn't be here. That's the truth. But it's also...
But that's so trash to hear.
You can't say that before re-election.
I mean,
that's so trash to
me,
hear.
that's like the truth. Like, who, like, if you think about it, who else could we put up there that everybody knows that has the same
but
level?
That tells me you don't
Trump
want the
does?
seat. That tells me you don't want the championship. You're just telling me that you're here because you have to be. I don't feel comfortable as a person that is an independent voter that has to vote.
Well, if you're independent, you're okay. Because you're not going to be able to.
If I'm if I'm independent.
Yeah. Well, are we one of? Is that how California works? If you're not a part of the Democratic Party, then you don't get a say on like on that pick.
I mean, you can vote.
Still. I mean, yeah, you still have a vote. You
still vote.
But I'm saying, no matter what the circumstances, I'm not talking about just the president. I am an independent voter because I understand that both parties don't serve in the best interest of my people. So if there's a politician, like we were just talking about last podcast, there's a politician, and I'm blanking on her name, but she did the Breakfast Club interview, and she was talking about how she's a senator and she's been doing works, and so there are people in those places that we can vote for that are actually for us. But as somebody who says the Democratic Party is supposed to be the party for black people, I don't feel comfortable with an older white man that was alive during like times where this country was really racist. Like, y'all think it's racist now, it was really like, nigger, you get to drink on that water fountain right there. He was alive during that. He was a young man, spry like I am right now.
I wouldn't call you spry.
Well, you know, back a little hurting and stuff. But anyway, y'all get what I'm saying. But for him to say he wouldn't really run if it wasn't for Trump, I don't think that's a good message.
Yeah, that don't sound like a leader.
It's just at the day,
especially when you're losing traction.
I feel like at the end of the day, it's the truth. Nothing's wrong with being like honest with people, and I think a lot of people don't like that. At the end of the day, he's speaking his truth. But I also think, you know, as I'm sitting here, maybe it's a different setup to kind of put in position Kamala.
Oh, nobody likes her.
I mean, but you never know. And that's something that, you know, could happen as far as, and I mean, that's unfortunate to women everywhere becoming the president. But, you know, for example, he's already, 81. He gets reelected. He gets sick. He has to step down. Kamala steps up.
But I'm saying that's like just setting her up for failure.
I mean, of course, but I feel like, you know, black people in this country is always set up for failure. Her being on the ballot and putting in that position has set her up for failure because she didn't have the support. She didn't have the resources. All of it. I mean, of course, it's not something that black women, I mean, if she chooses to identify more closely with that this year, that it would, I mean, not to be shady, but, you know, she's identified, but it's like really showing it and, you know, doing stuff because that Thanksgiving picture really just threw me for a loop. But nevertheless, like, it would allow for her to be put in a position to prove. But then, you know, we're so divided, and it's just like, I mean, quite frankly, our politics is really shitty right now, and that's the facts. I just don't know. Like, I'm trying to be optimistic for people, but it's just shitty, and we just need to encourage more people to get involved and to run, and for us to really pay attention to politics and really push civil education, because we wouldn't be in this position if people actually understood how government worked, how to vote, and the importance of, you know, your fucking vote.
Right. And let me ask y'all this. Would America be accepting of an intellectual black woman that's actually ready for the position of president of the United States?
But who would that be? Michelle already said no.
I'm pretty sure in the billion people of the United States, I'm pretty sure that there's a smart black woman out there that could probably
absolutely not. America's not ready. America's not going to be ready until it's like fucking crumbling, and then black people are going to come in.
You don't think there's not one black woman that could do the job?
I'm not saying that. Of course.
120
we're currently shitting on black women right now. Like,
what do you mean?
I'm just saying. Claudine Gay is getting smoked out right now.
Who?
The president of Harvard who stepped down because
of
her comments and then her getting caught in plagiarism.
Yeah.
And it's like white people were just like waiting for the
I'm just saying, would America even be accepting of something
that's your
like
thing?
that?
Of course, there's a fucking. I think black women, we already fucking. I mean, I gotta stand up for people when it comes to every isms, whatever experiences. Who's gonna stand up and do what's right? Of course, black women. Black women has always been the foundation of a lot of fucking shit in this country, like point blank. Period. Of course, there's capable black women. Is there opportunities? Is there support? Is it American society gonna actually accept not only a woman but a black woman to be in that position? Absolutely not. And that's where Kamala, I mean, like Obama, they are racially ambiguous.
Ambiguous.
Yeah, I did say it right. That it would allow for people to see themselves in her more than it is, having like a Michelle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean that's unfortunate, but I think it's just the truth. Like there's so many black women that I think can run and do as much.
Yeah,
but I wanted that response from you because of kind of what you said. That being able to look in yourself into somebody else, and you're able to project that with your words and how you carry yourself and your experience. I think that's more important than like your politics, your X's and O's. Really, if you can relate to that person will vote for you more likely than what your legislation says.
I mean, yeah, but
people are not really doing time.
But that's kind of the problem.
That's the problem.
I mean, that's the problem. But also, it's like you don't even realize that. Like, it's like, okay, yeah, I can relate, but the fact of the matter is, a lot of American people do not feel like a woman could be in that position. And then, as a lot of American people still, if consciously or subconsciously, do not believe that black people are capable for that role.
Well,
so it's just like. Of course you can relate to me, but it's like, do you trust me enough to be put in that position?
Exactly.
You're going to support me? Absolutely not, because there's still going to be some miscommunications and there's going to be some misunderstandings because you don't understand the life of a black woman, while we're forced to understand everyone else's life.
Just to kind of tie that together, like, are we ready for a really intelligent black woman to be in a position of power, such as like the president?
Right.
I don't know too much about Claudine Gay's background academic wise. They said she's written a handful of articles, hasn't published any books or anything, but now that she's stepped down, caught for some plagiarism and her acts condoning some anti-Semitic articles being written on college campuses or something like that. But I was listening to Fox News and they were covering it, and they were saying that this is just another example of black people not having to take accountability because they use their status of black people to be put into positions that they are unqualified to be in. And it's just like,
so are they saying like affirmative action?
Yeah, exactly. Like affirmative action.
I was like listening, I'm like, what the fuck are they trying to say?
It's just like,
say it.
It's just like, she's saying if she was not black, she wouldn't be in that conversation to even be.
Absolutely not, because if she was not black, she would not have been questioned.
Exactly.
And that's the crazy part. People don't question.
Yeah.
Because I can't even tell you what articles and shit Biden has written.
No, but literally, for her to be black
that's
and
not
to be
staff
in
work.
that position, she would obviously have to be 10 times as qualified.
Exactly.
In my eye.
Right.
But also,
to even be in that position.
She was the president of
Harvard.
That's a very interesting situation.
Yeah, and that's
racism
why,
and education is a whole nother fucking beast.
Yeah, but that's why I also wasn't really tripping, because I'm just like, Harvard and scandals kind of just go hand to hand. So I don't really be messing with them private PWIs anyway. Yeah. So it's just like, if it ain't racism, it's sexual assault. So they doing one or the other.
That's crazy. I wonder if they feel good putting a black president up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we did something. Look, we're not racist. We love black people. Affirmative action.
Yeah, it's probably because
we don't need affirmative action.
She was apparently supposed to be the shortest president in that history. She was only there for like 6 months.
Oh goodness. So
it's just like
embarrassing. Yeah. I wonder who were people around her, because I'd be like, girl, are you sure you want to take that role? Because it's like, not in a bad way, but it's just like how much shit she has to face.
No, right.
But she thinking about it of, I'll actually be in the history books for this. Like,
yeah, for now 6 months. And
they can never take that away from her. She was at one point
the president
of Harvard. Moving on to another story. Have y'all heard of the Rocket Hips dance?
Are you gonna demonstrate?
No, I'm not gonna demonstrate. We'll show it on the screen. Ja Morant did it. After a win against the New Orleans Pelicans, we saw Ja doing the Rock Your Hips dance. And it kind of went viral because it's like kind of like a gun motion. Yeah, there you go. Nice. The dance was assumed by some viewers to be a gun celebration. The following day, the dance creators...
Is this not America? Is this not U.S. of A?
Debunk that idea.
Were we not just talking about how we love guns?
My Second Amendment.
But when it comes to Ja, though, it's a different, 25 games. He just came back.
I mean, he just came back and he's dominating. Like, to my whole point, there's people in the NBA who's committed. I mean, people in fucking sports, and that should be studied as well, who's gone away with so much far worse shit.
Right, so let me
not
show
saying
you,
it's right or wrong, but I'm like, let
me tell you what Barstool Sports did, actually. Barstool Sports posted a video of Morant and Texas Longhorns quarterback Quinn Ewers doing the same dance and had different takes to each video. One of the captions said, "Josh spraying imaginary bullets into section 113 after the slam." The post read after Morant's video. On New Year's Day, it said, Quinn Ewers is having fun. They were doing the same exact dance. Ja Morant, of course, is a black man of dreads, long locks. They're not used to that. Locks. Very electrifying, would dunk on a nigga. He just dunked on Wemby's tall ass.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Versus the Texas quarterback that, it must be his passion why he can dance like that. He must just be so excited. So what do y'all think about how media portrays the black athlete versus the white athlete?
Well, we already know how the media portrays black people versus white people in any light. We can see that as far as even just like with black people in the criminal light, if we want to say, like, for lack of better words, when they're showing black people who have been arrested and they're showing pictures. They're only going to show pictures of mugshots and them inside prison or them being locked up, versus white people for even more of a heinous crime. They're going to show their graduation picture. They're going to show their prom picture. They're going to automatically show them in that different light. From that to even the titles of articles, the way they write the titles portraying the black people versus portraying the white people. And it's just like they always just give white people so much slack.
Right.
So much room to improve. Or not even to improve, but so much room for people to be like, well, this and well that. And it's like, since when was context really involved in the courts? And it's like, it's only really involved when we're talking about white people,
right?
And it's like we know, especially that boy in Texas, they love their guns in Texas.
Oh yeah.
But it's really just,
and it should be scary if you want to talk about it and mass shootings, but hey, we don't want to go there because that's like a big no. But I would be more worried about that one.
The dance creators, I just want to make this point clear. The dance creators already said it wasn't like the gun motion, so for that to even be associated with Ja, I mean, I understand what he did, but it's like, if you're just doing a dance, for him to be demeaned in the way he was is kind of crazy when the dance people already came out and was like, that's not the true intent of the dance that we created.
At the end of the day, it's a dance. It's a celebration. It doesn't, that's what's throwing me off.
Well, at the end of the day, he's a nigga.
Yeah.
I know, I get it, but it's just like, why is there having conversations? It just seems like at this point they're just doing any and everything to tear him down. Like, you feel me? And that's the thing where it's like, granted, should he not be doing certain things that he has been doing with the money and stuff? Maybe. But at the end of the day, his skill on the fucking court is what got him there.
Right.
And that's it. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just...
Yeah,
I mean, he is also very,
We'll move on from that.
He's very,
You guys.
He gets a pass, in my opinion.
Oh, Lord. Anyway,
no, he's hella fine. Like, let him play ball. Let him dribble the ball.
I want to show you this video. This video right here is still a 10-second clip.
But my only thing is with him. Can you pause it though? For real. It's just like, why are they so mad to see his success? But that's what I was gonna say. Oh goodness, lost my train of thought. I think it's very interesting when white people do black stuff and how they're celebrated for it. But when black people are thriving in their own black community and their celebrations and their culture or whatever, very villainized. And I think that's interesting as well. And that's all I wanted to say, because then you have people like Travis Kelce before he switched from his black girlfriend to Taylor Swift. Uh-oh. He was playing a role. The dude from the Raiders, I forget his name.
You said playing a role.
I'm playing a role, like kind of like race baiting. I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
You changed his whole haircut and face.
You get what I'm saying? I don't know if that's race bait. I don't know what that is. Like, you're trying to like portray yourself as this cooler person by taking on black.
My guy had a fade.
Blacker, like not phenotypes, but like more
culturally like stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, present yourself as, oh, I'm cool with the black people, and it's like they're celebrated for that. But then on the flip side, I mean, this isn't connected, but whatever. But when black people are, you know, associated with more wider stuff, then it's like they're seen differently, and like trying not to, it's not to stay in your place, but also like not allowing that to be deemed as normal. And it's like interesting, like you keep pushing black people in one box and you're letting other races kind of come in that box and pick and choose what they want to use.
Exactly. It's an interesting thing I've been seeing on social media recently is like black people are talking about why do y'all always get so excited whenever you see a white person sing the lyrics to a black song, right? And it's like, nigga, I know some Tame Impala songs. I know some Katy Perry. Ain't nobody give me an award. And it's like, but it's just like when you see white people just do anything remotely not white or just a little bit seasoned, it's just like, oh, it's just so refreshing.
Remember that lady singing Lil Baby at the wedding, and she was like all in the camera, and they made like an HD video.
Yeah, it's just like
it just went viral because this white lady was singing Lil Baby's. I fit the description, and she was going crazy though. She was going crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay, part of the problem. Example A. Example A.
She was going
but
crazy.
You're little. Yeah. Okay. Let's roll the clip.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sexy Red. So, recently we saw this on social media. It's been trending.
I haven't seen it. You like this song, but this is like very crazy seeing kids.
I know that just made me not like the song.
So what did y'all?
I still like the song, but it makes me question people. I don't have kids, so let me start by saying that.
This is three people that don't have kids on this podcast right now.
So I don't know.
What do y'all think about how
that is?
That is?
I don't have kids, but I know I couldn't sing "Drunk in Love" by Beyonce because my parents didn't play that shit. I had to do stuff like that with my friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff, that side, and I know like that's adultish with my friends. I wasn't like, oh, my family, my parents are over here. Well, their songs were nasty as well. It was just, hit it a little bit better, obviously. But we weren't like, I don't know, like that.
And we were definitely a little older when "Drunk in Love" came out.
We were older. See, and that's the crazier part. My mom
was like 5.
Yeah, my mom was fucking on me about that.
So what? So Xavier, but you
get my point.
Yeah, Xavier, what was your relationship with hip hop as a kid? This age,
that's just too much.
Yeah, I feel like
that's a lot. What makes it even more just crazy is because like they recorded this and posted this online.
They think it's cute.
They think that's cute. Oh, look at our daughters singing and dancing, haha. But it's like, what are they singing and dancing? Right. First of all, why do they know all the lyrics to "Sexy Red"? Bend that ass over, let that coochie breathe.
Right.
Shake that ass, bitch.
It reminds me of the one little boy who was rapping and he was talking about like shooting people and like killing people and like how like they were encouraging that like
already at a young age.
He was like 8, I think. I mean, I feel like it's just like at the end of the day, I feel like parents just, parenting is hard. So shout out to the parents out there. But, like I couldn't imagine at such a young age having access to the internet and then also being like exposed to this music and understanding like at the end of the day as a woman or as a kid, like over sexualizing yourself.
Right.
Like that's what I'm kind of curious about. And I'm, those little kids like, singing it and then figuring out what it means, doing the dances and then realizing they're getting attention off of it and then going on like, how is that going to impact their sense of self and like their relationship with others, starting to have relationship with other, people as they grow up. And it's just very interesting to me, like, what are the values that people are teaching their kids? But then also because it's so accessible now, how are you even able as a parent to protect your kids from stuff like that?
Right. And we've talked about kind of the relationship that hip hop has had with this community and like over the time us looking and seeing like, maybe hip hop has affected our community in a way that we haven't quite grasped yet. There was a lot of backlash when hip hop first hit the streets from like the church or like just people that didn't kind of understand. And for somebody who loves hip hop, for somebody who loves the storytelling element of hip hop and things of that nature, we still have to understand the impact that it has had on our community. Right. And for us to have our kids singing these lyrics.
See, my first question is read a motherfucking book.
No, right.
That would be my thing. Because that's the only way my kid will be able to, like, wow. Well, I mean, I'm not saying, like, do all that, but that's how I was raised. Like, okay, you can do what the fuck you want to do, but you better make sure you're doing what the fuck you're supposed to do to develop yourself mentally, emotionally.
We have to protect Black children's mental.
You know what I'm saying?
You know all them lyrics? Okay, I need to see that report card, too.
Right, and that's what I want to see. I mean, I hate to say it, but that is kind of, but not to take away from your point, hip hop, whatever. I think it has morphed into something more, but I think, again, it's parenting and what you choose to teach your kids, you know? And also, I don't want to judge them because it is, in my opinion, inappropriate, but I don't have kids, but you also don't know how their kids. But you also don't know, like, maybe, I don't know, their mom, I don't know.
Protect the Black family, and we won't judge you. If I don't see no Black
I don't know,
girls on a video saying something like this, that's just wild.
I wonder what Dr. Umar would have to say about that.
Yeah, Dr. Umar, you are going to be in Sacramento January 18th.
I know we're going to try to slide through.
We're going to try to slide through. Come by the Rising. We're going to at you on this.
Because speaking of Umar, he did recently, I saw him on a podcast and he was talking about, because we did just have our 50 years of hip hop. And he was like, 50 years of hip hop, I really haven't seen anybody having that conversation of, now that we've had our 50 years, has hip hop been more good or bad for our community? Have more positive things come from hip hop or more negative? And he was bringing up, after 50 years, what institutions have hip hop produced that are actively, you know, promoting and maintaining and aiding the Black community. Facts. And it's like, we do recognize and we understand that what hip hop was at its foundation over time has been misconstrued and manipulated and reformed and rebranded into what it is now, which is just more loosely tied into just quick money grabs and a looser manifestation of like your experiences and your surroundings. And because we do see that people, even when after they make it in their career and no longer in those situations, will still go and you know, talk about that same circumstance.
Right. When they're not in that circumstance anymore.
In that circumstance. They don't want to go and, you know, develop their sound and talk about these new circumstances, what it's like to be someone who came from nothing to have something. What do you do now? What do you do to go back to your community? Like we did, speaking of just going back to your community, I know we're just going everywhere. Well, at least I'm just going everywhere right now. But did you see with Mike Epps buying his block, he bought back his home block? And then,
I thought it was the boxer. Am I tripping too? Davis, Jerry, Amanda.
Oh, he did it too.
Okay, I
saw
was
that.
like, woo!
I saw Javante did that. You know, but I saw Mike Epps as well. He bought his whole home block, even his grandma's house that was repossessed. But yeah, he was just
housing.
Yeah, just turning it into affordable housing, and it's just like
Nipsey worked on that.
Yeah, and it's just like being able to see Black figures actually do what we like to talk about, going back and reinvesting into your community. It's like good to see, because it's not like well, at least from what I understood, it's not like he went and bought those houses and rebuilt them up so much to where now nobody in that neighborhood could afford to live in those areas. He just went and refurbished and made it look just more appealing and more manicured in a sense, which is like the opposite of what they do with when we're talking about cities being what is it called?
Gentrified.
Yeah, when cities are being gentrified, because people like to say, what's wrong?
Sometimes, but it's still, to your point, like they build it so much, business come in that unfortunately the rent increases.
Exactly, because they're like, a lot of people like to say, well, what's wrong with people coming in and making the houses look better and bringing in more stores and stuff like that? And it's like, you're coming in, you're completely changing the framework and financial stability in that society without simultaneously offering those people in there the means to keep up with that change. You're just forcing change, but keeping their means of access to financial means the same way. So now you're just inevitably going to be forcing those people out of that community to make way for more people to come in. And the people that come in are going to be the ones who can afford to live there, which we know are not going to necessarily look like the people who lived there previously.
Right.
And it's just like, it is nice to see, because I love to talk about our black entertainers and our black athletes or whatever, because we know those are primarily the role models or the figures that we have in the black community. Seeing them actively go back into their communities and do something productive, it's always good to see. So shout out to Mike Epps for that, and Javante as well.
Yeah.
But,
on another did you?
I was gonna say, like, at the end of the day, like, how hip hop and like impact, I think we have to realize, like, you know, very, like, I'm trying to remember Marx theory, like the people who own labor also own production, or who own, damn, why am I blanking on it? But anyway, basically what I'm trying to say is with hip hop, it's cool to own the, like, providing the labor, but we don't own the product, and I think that's the issue. And then Dr. Umar, I don't know if he touched bases on that. I think hip hop and the influence on the black community will look different if all of that money that's made off of hip hop was concentrated in black hands, and it's not.
That's facts. Speaking of another comedian, since you brought up Mike Epps, Katt Williams recently had an interview.
Love Katt Williams.
That interview, I think, is at 7 or 8 million views in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Something crazy. So what did y'all think about the Katt Williams?
Did you guys watch it?
I watched it. Shannon Sharp
I told you.
him,
Did you watch it too?
Yeah.
It was almost 3 hours.
Yeah, I was watching it like when it first came out, but I had to stop because I mean it's 3 hours. But Shannon Sharp basically asked that man how he was doing, and Katt Williams just went from there. Yeah. Talked about Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, the industry, Ludacris.
Talked about Shannon too.
Did he? Talked about Shannon.
Got pressed on his own show.
What did he say? Your allegiance
to losers.
This is very unlike you.
Yeah.
I like that.
So what did y'all think about the Katt Williams interview?
You know, it's always weird. Not weird, but it's kind of like, damn, when you hear something early on about people, about these figures, and you're like, oh, people are saying they're a little weird, they be doing this behind the scenes, this and that, but it's like, oh, it's just a little bit of hearsay. But then 15, 20 years later, it's starting to just facts coming out. For like, I know, not coming back to it, but like, people have been talking about Diddy for years. Now all these lawsuits and everything are coming out. And it's just like, even during the pandemic, I remember people were briefly saying, you know, Oprah being like a sex trafficker and stuff. Now it's like there's talks about her being on the Epstein list. And it's just like,
I can't even
everything
that.
always
Allegedly.
Everything
I know the
just
list
comes
came
back.
out. It's just people. I'm waiting for people to review and
because I think it was 900 something pages.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was
but it's just, you know, what were we talking about?
Katt Williams.
Oh yeah, Katt Williams. It's refreshing just to see somebody who is like unafraid to go against the grain, which in the entertainment industry, following the grain means to, you know, do whatever the money.
Yeah, I
is saying.
get that, but I also don't like a nigga coming onto a platform. And I mean, Shannon gave him the ball and let him rock, but I like pushback in interviews, and it was giving me very like, you can't just come in here. I know this is an interview for you, but you're coming in here saying a lot of stuff about a lot of people with no pushback. Like, a lot of people talk about Kevin Hart all the time, and it's always been Katt Williams versus Kevin Hart this whole time.
Versus, like, in what sense? And don't say comedy wise, because like, I mean, I hate to be that person.
I mean, you can be that person, but if you really want to have that conversation, we can have it, because Kevin Hart has been in a position for a long time where he can't say X, Y, and Z. Katt Williams will never be in that position, because when he was in that position, for whatever reason, he said he wanted his I'm not gonna say that. You can look at the interview and say why Katt Williams said he wanted to keep his integrity in Hollywood.
Right.
There were certain roles that Katt Williams had, that Kevin Hart had, that Kevin Hart showed up, that Kevin Hart came early, that Kevin Hart worked hard, that Kevin Hart did X, Y, and Z to get himself in the position where he's the biggest movie star. He has a lot of following now. So when we want to talk about comedy, I'm not even going to talk about the comedy star, but comedy side of things. But Kevin Hart is a for sure bona fide movie star now. He put himself in that position through stand up,
right?
And you have to give him your credit.
But like, I think the interview and like what I thought was the most impactful. Not only did he seem very genuine and authentic in his answers and how he was speaking about all of the different, he spoke on a lot of things, but also I think he was just speaking like, to your point, like, yeah, that's great for Kevin Hart, but also to what cost to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I think Katt Williams brought a certain type of presence, in my opinion, to the interview to say, I was able to say no, even though I could have made as much money, been where you were at. But because of who I am and what I stand for and what I believe in and my kids and what, I vision my life to be, I said no.
Yeah.
And I think that to me carries more weight than the fact like, yeah, I can work hard and do all this, do this. But if you're kissing ass all the time, you're going to get your values all the time just for money, just for clout, just to be exposed. Where does that leave you?
But you can tell me you're in that position, but from perspective, because I don't know Katt Williams, I don't know the situations. Mm-hmm. But from what other people have said, because he's saying something about them, he's alleging something about them, that they're doing something that we don't know about. What I've heard about you, Katt Williams, is that you fucked off those times. You didn't come. You didn't show up to some movie sets. You didn't do the shit that you needed to do to be that star and to be in that position. So whether they did something to mess up their integrity, that's on them. But what about what you did? And that's my only thing with an interview where you're pointing. Nigga, you got whooped by a 14-year-old. We remember that. But we were in high school.
But he's the size of a 14-year-old, so that's about pretty even.
I mean, right. That's like when the security guard got messed up at Franklin.
Yeah,
but it's just like you're in that position, and I can't just hear you for 3 hours talk about X, Y, and Z, but it's like, Katt, like, bro, Katt has the funniest stand-up special. If I wanted to ever show anybody anything about stand-up, I would put on that Katt Williams special when he's in that green suit. Oh, yeah, that's probably the best special that I've ever seen in my life. But it's kind of like you're in a lane that you're in a lane with. Like, don't talk about other people because they're in other lanes, because people can find inspiration and other things from these other comedians too.
And that's kind of where I do have to jump in, because I mean, like, as far as like the interview, I think from what I could get from the interview and what I took from it, Katt Williams has not made himself available to really speak his truth when it comes to all the comedians, speaking about their experiences, speaking about what they've done, and also speaking on him. So for me, as someone, in my opinion, I don't really speak out a lot about certain things. I let people think and say what they want to do. I think it was just his opportunity to open his mouth and speak his truth. And I think that's what people didn't like. I don't think he was calling out for, say, oh, I'm just going to pick on this person or pick on this person. It's like, nah, nigga. You've been doing shit for so long and you thought shit was so sweet and you spoke on shit at the wrong time. So I'm coming here to set the record straight. And if you want to try me, I have the receipts. That's what it was giving to me. I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, he's speaking, yada, yada, yada. But the way he was speaking and how he was speaking was like, nigga, you can say if you want, this is the age of the internet. I have the receipts.
Yeah,
I can prove it.
I get that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't believe any celebrity at this point.
I mean,
you can say, "Oh, Katt Williams speaking truth to power," but it's like, nigga, I gotta have a conversation with Katt, because I know what the struggle of black people are. Katt come through for a real interview.
I mean, you say that, but at the same time, it's like, like that's why. I mean, he did say a lot of stuff that riled a lot of people up, but he also said a lot of shit that, to me, again, from when I do watch interviews with celebrities, that I think, again, to me, I get your point, not respecting or like thinking they were telling the truth. It was just authentic. Like when he started talking about his connection with God, his spirituality, how he was raising his kids, when he was talking about how every day, how he lives, how he wants to be God's friend, when he was speaking about Kanye and like the idea of like, hey, someone with special needs, you're not going to sit there and grade them as the normal. That was a good point. I like how he has mental illness. When he spoke about the Tory Lane and Megan Thee Stallion thing, very straight to the point. So to me, he was, and that's where I get what you're saying, like, oh, he's this and that. But to me, or like he's a celebrity, you can't believe it. But to me, he just speaking his truth in such a way that I don't think a lot of other celebrities are comfortable doing. That's why, like, I was watching it for 3 hours.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, it didn't seem like, oh, he's putting on a show. Or he's being fake. Or he doesn't know. Like, it was just like, nigga, this is my truth. Like, you can question it, but he's like, this is my truth, and I can prove it. And that's just what he gave me. Yeah,
because even, like, for me, even with listening to some of his comedy specials, those specials always seem like he is speaking on, like, a bigger issue. Mm-hmm. There's a larger theme at practice. He's not so much just speaking on his wife and his kids and what he's got going on with his family. He's coming in there with deconstructing. Like, he did a whole special just talking about politics. And it's like he's always just coming in trying to talk to people about the issues that are going on. Kind of like Dave Chappelle, but don't even get me started on his last special that just came out.
Finished it.
But that's why when I was able just to sit down and listen to him talk, it just like KaBria was saying, it just felt more genuine. Like he was saying, like, I don't usually come out and speak to people. I'm only coming to speak because people are speaking on me with misinformation. So I'm just going to use this time to you take my receipts and set the record straight for sure. And it's like, of course, that's going to rile people up. I even saw Kevin Hart his response, and all he was basically saying was like he's just a hater, basically. But that's like, that's not denial. That's worse than that's worse than what TD Jake said. Even if I did do it, I just have to repent. And it's just like that's not really saying you didn't do it. And it's just like there are.
Yeah, I didn't even touch about the responses.
Yeah, my knowledge when it comes to comedians is very limited. But Katt Williams has always been one of my favorite comedians. But just speaking with Kevin Hart, he got some specials I like. But after like his first 2 or 3, his specials don't come with that same message that Katt Williams is trying to provide. But y'all can't
judge him after Laugh at My Pain. I'm telling y'all, Kevin Hart is a movie star.
But I think that's also what Katt Williams. That's also what Katt Williams was talking about too. Right. Like, he's saying that I'm gonna make movies too, but I'm not gonna let that also hinder my ability to make accurate stand up. So that's what he's saying. So he's like,
Kevin decided to be a movie star.
But no, so that's what he's saying. You
But
don't.
at what
You don't
cost
then.
is what he's saying.
Yeah,
What
you
did
don't then can come and start critiquing my stand up when you don't even do stand up. You're no longer a stand up comedian. You're an actor. And the last
Drake,
special,
you're no longer a rapper.
You're not a rapper.
You're
a pop star. So hop up off this strong critique of my stand up when you don't do stand up. And even your last stand up specials that you have done, Kevin Hart really hasn't had a good stand up special since like 2016.
Probably
15?
before that.
Before that, yeah. And then Strictly moved on to productions, which is going to be vastly different than organizing.
And then the movies just started. If you just examine that, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation.
Half his movies
and
are
I'm
the
not
same
even trying
movie.
to be funny. Yeah, it is. It's
half the
him
movies are the same
taking care of a
movie.
white
I just
person.
don't get why. I just don't understand the black community coming out like, y'all don't. We don't never have the same energy for everybody. And from Kevin Hart's position, I can just see it's just an inspiring story. Katt Williams says a plant, but I always commend niggas.
Yeah,
I always commend niggas who do the work. You can say whatever you guys want about Tyler Perry. What I know about Tyler Perry is he was on the road for 300 days out the year. That's what I know.
So what about what he said about Steve Harvey and how Steve Harvey loves to say he was homeless?
The funniest part of that, he said Steve Harvey talking about his wife and how she was his backbone, and he said, "You said that about the first one." I said, "Dang."
The first one could have been his backbone.
What I would say about the Steve Harvey and the sad thing is, we all know that there was internal beef during the Kings of Comedy, especially between Bernie Mac.
But what he said was true. I hate this, and that's also what you have to admit.
What do you mean?
Bernie Mac, his comedic power.
Oh, I was just saying about the dispute and how they
were
were arguing with Bernie throughout the whole thing, and it was kind of like they left that part out. So I don't know how Steve, DL, and Cedric are supposed to talk about Bernie after his death, because of course they're not going to talk about the bad times. They're not going to talk about, oh yeah, we really were beefing with that nigga when we were doing the Kings of Comedy. Of course they're not going to say that. They're going to try to.
I would too.
The fuck.
I mean,
I'm sorry if I'm keeping it once again being genuine and stuff like that. You know, at the time we weren't in a good place.
Well, I'm just saying they're not going to say that. That's not the reality of LA or the industry, and I get you're saying Katt is taking those things out, but I mean, it was just a lot for that interview. Let's do something more productive, Katt. As far as what you can do with these comedians to maybe help the black community, to maybe help people all around. Like,
he did speak about that.
He said what he did individually. I'm talking about
individually,
for people who are millionaires I'm talking about for people who are millionaires and billionaires who are these movie stars. Let's actually build coalitions and teams together as comedians to actually do something to affect. Let's do something to affect the 5 major problems of Black people.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
They're not doing nothing. Do they have a school?
But,
do they have a school? Do they have a hospital?
But listen, not everybody's on that activism road.
Don't even get me started on that.
You can't.
What? I'm just asking. Let's do something instead of just saying Steve Harvey been talking about his wife.
It's not that.
I don't. Bro, who cares about any of the stuff that Katt Williams was talking about?
But I don't understand. What are you talking about? Do we got schools? Do we got this? Literally, like 2-3 podcasts ago, I'm trying to convince you that LeBron can't even make a post or send some money.
I said
but all
LeBron got a school.
All of a sudden, Katt Williams, they ain't doing schools. We ain't got.
I'm
we ain't
just
got
saying.
This, we ain't got that.
I don't like. I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying, but it's different levels to it, though.
Like that. I just want y'all to. Can y'all do something productive, like where it's not 2 black men? Kevin Hart versus Katt Williams. Kevin Hart versus Steve Harvey. Kevin Hart versus Ricky Smiley.
Oh, and that's the thing.
That's all it was.
I think no. I don't think.
I mean, but who's in that space? Who else is he supposed to argue with? Gary Owens?
I don't think he was arguing. I think he was just telling his experience and his truth. And he's just saying, like, you know what, I'm about to just clear it out. But I think he was also speaking about what he has been doing for the community, what he has been doing for young talent, what he has been doing for comedians who's on the road that Kevin Hart and everyone listed has not been doing. And he's saying,
Kevin Hart puts his people on, so I don't know what y'all. I just think y'all. I think you guys don't understand all the shit. Tiffany Haddish. All the points.
Tiffany Haddish has been around. She was on That's So Raven.
Bro, Tiffany Haddish was never in the position she was in.
Kevin
before.
Hart.
Tiffany Haddish still shouldn't be in the position that she
Kevin
is.
Hart,
She is not.
She was
funny.
sleeping on that.
And the
if you want to talk about a plant,
bro,
and the sexual
abuse.
assault, and the DUIs.
Yeah, unfortunately,
she's not funny.
I say he put people on. I didn't say they're not funny.
Amy
Schumer is not funny, and she's out here making a bag.
She's terrible.
Is that the white girl?
She's white. Yeah.
And that's Kevin Hart's people?
No, I'm just saying she's not funny either. So that's all I'm saying.
He do be with her. Kevin Hart.
That's not her people. Stop.
He do be with Amy Schumer.
He
do be with Amy Schumer.
I get what you're saying though, Cayman, but I'm just saying, like, you can't take for the fact in the interview he did say what he did do for the Black community and what he continues to do for the Black community, and as he said, he's a safe place, like what he did for Wild 'N Out, what he did to get I don't even know the person's what is it, the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, what he's done.
Never mind.
Yeah, but
I'm just gonna say, what does that have to do with the Black community? Somebody got a star on the Walk of Fame.
What do you mean? Because she was a Black.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean? She was a Black artist who didn't get a recognition, didn't have them funds for it. Hey, boom! What he does when he goes to the cities and he tours, the money he gives back. Like that's why I'm just like, to me, like what you're saying, I get it. Like he probably could do more, but what he is doing, in my opinion, he's doing it first of all silently. And I think that's always the best fucking way.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about him individually, what he does. I'm just saying in a whole, as far as the comedians.
Bring it together. But how can you bring people together when you move so differently than the people that's in the same lane or in the same group?
1,000%.
And that's the thing. And that's why I always say moving silently and doing things out of your heart. I mean, doing things that's on your heart and goodwill with nobody to see, nobody to judge you but God. That says way more to me than what you're doing in front of other people and what you're speaking on. In my opinion, it's never said right with me when people talk about, oh, I donated or did this. Like, okay, like you're making, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I mean, I don't know. I get what you're saying, but no lie, part of me, I just, after watching it, and it was really late, like last night I was watching it, but it was just, to me, just very like, he's telling his story so people can understand where he's at, and he can also understand his relations with all the other people in the industry.
All right, Xavier, a little synopsis on Dave Chappelle's special. What you hated about it?
I didn't finish it. I didn't watch it.
Well, I'll sum it up for you.
Okay.
Trans jokes.
I wanted to watch it,
with a couple of disabled jokes seasoned in, and then back to trans jokes, which is very funny because his last, counting this special, so that's 3 specials. His last 2 specials, primarily trans jokes. The special before this one, he says, I will no longer do any more trans jokes because of all the backlash, this and that, it's not worth it, blah, blah, blah. Literally the first or second joke in the special was a trans joke. After he says that joke, he's like, all right, I'm not going to do any more trans jokes the rest of this show. Starts doing disabled jokes. Immediately follows up with more trans jokes. And it's just like, when did Dave Chappelle just take on this fucking cloak of being the designated transphobe? And it's like I don't care if you make. I'm not the joke police. I don't really care what you make jokes about. And I don't think a joke necessarily doesn't have to be like offensive. Like jokes can be offensive, but there's a difference between a joke being offensive for the sake of being offensive or reactionary, and a joke being offensive and funny. Like it could be offensive and funny, but if that shit's just offensive, it's like, what are you saying it for? It's just like
So the audience wasn't laughing?
No, they were laughing because we understand. Well, I understand that just the concept of transgenders or the transgender ideology, that is going to be something that is very reactionary. Either way you say it, it's either going to make people laugh or make people go, I can't believe he said that. So he does like a joke in the show where he's talking about meeting Jim Carrey for the first time, but he was so involved.
He was in his character.
Yeah, he's so in his character that he couldn't even call him by his real name. He's like, it's so weird. Like, I'm looking at Jim Carrey. I know it's Jim Carrey, but I gotta act like it's this other nigga. And he's like, that's how trans people make me feel. And it's like that whole thing in itself to me could have been a joke. And I feel like he just adds in that's how trans people make me feel because he knows that's what's really gonna set the tone. That's what's really gonna make people make people clap, make people go get that shock value, because he's a comedian. He knows his fan base,
right?
He knows what they're interested in, especially when the last two specials you was doing the same shit,
right?
He knows if I add that in, people are gonna be woo clapping because he does the initial joke. It's light claps. As soon as he says that's how trans people make me feel, the fucking roof damn near blows off that shit. And it's just like part of that I do feel comes with that anticipation from his last special saying I'm literally not doing this anymore, then just off rip doing that same thing you said you're not gonna do. Right. It's just like that double reactionary content, and it's just like, why does somebody who we recognize as a GOAT in the comedy space have to stoop to the level of doing easy, quick, reactionary jokes that you know are gonna get people to laugh or just get the shock value? It's just easy.
Right. I have to watch it, and I have to really see it, because I feel like for me, and I'll be honest, Dave Chappelle is a person that has always been kind of hard for me to read. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, in the sense where it's like, yeah, is he doing that to be offensive, or is he doing it because comedy is a space for him to explore some uncomfortable concepts within himself to help people reflect and try to understand another group? And that's where I don't know, and I don't know if it's deeper than that. I don't want to say him like, oh, he's just a genius, but I am kind of curious as to like, is that what he's trying to do? And then in the next comedy special, I don't know how many he has, is he gonna sum it all up and be like, you know what, my kid or my cousin, I don't know if he has kids, or this person in my family is transgender, you know? I don't know. And so
he's already dang near tied that in on like the first special. He was talking about one of his best friends in the comedy space was this transgender, then she ended up killing herself. That was like in his first special. Then the second special, he's still talking about trans people. And it's like, I don't think Dave Chappelle necessarily needs to stop talking about trans people, but like you were saying, he's just offering that, not offering no like insight or anything to necessarily gain from that joke, other than just kind of making fun of that hate, but kind of just in that facade of, but it's a joke. And it's like, I don't necessarily think he's saying it because he believes it or saying it because he even thinks it's funny. I just think he's saying it because he knows, for the shock value, because he knows it's going to get the views, it's going to get the clicks, it's going to get people to talk, it's going to get his fan base riled up. That nigga know who watches his shows. But
then I just wonder and I just question, like, you feel me, like, what he's doing in a sense, because I feel like comedy has been restricted to like that comedian's like perspective in a sense, and I'm not reading into it. I haven't watched the Dave Chappelle special yet, but I am curious if he's trying to make a statement like all those years on the Dave Chappelle show explaining the black experience to a majority white audience. How does it feel for somebody to cosplay? And not always cosplay, that's like inappropriate, but try to speak on experience that's not theirs, and how appropriate is that? You know what I'm saying? And that's why I don't know if I'm right or wrong or if I'm onto something, but I wonder, like, is that something he's exploring? And then I have to rewatch it. But you get what I'm saying, like, comedy is the space, but you know, if you're letting everybody experience black culture and make black jokes, why can't I make these jokes? I'm not being an advocate, once again, I have to watch it and see how offensive it is, or if it's offensive. But I'm just curious if that's kind of part of like, if he is this higher level thinker that people claim he is.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle, he is a higher level thinker. We appreciate him for the stand that he did take. When we want to talk about people taking stands, him, like Katt Williams, who Katt Williams did say in the interview, Dave Chappelle was one of those ones that turned down a lot of stuff too, that was in rooms, and when they were doing their kinky stuff, Dave and Katt was probably two of the ones that was like, you know what, I think I'm going home after that. So we commend him. But I thought what Xavier said when we were watching the special and kind of the backlash that I've seen Dave get, I think that's a poignant point to make, and I think it's an important point to make. Dave Chappelle is one of our greatest, so when we see him on the stage and the commentary, just like what we say with Chris Rock's last stand-up wasn't funny to me. His response to Will Smith wasn't funny to me. So it's kind of like, are you going to change the commentary a little bit? What's your true message behind everything? And we'll see. More to come. I know he has a lot more money coming from Netflix, so we'll see in Dave Chappelle's upcoming special. Last couple topics for you guys real quick. I want to get through them.
I know. Can we,
California has passed a law in where they actually have to tell you why they stopped you instead of coming up to you and saying,
that's my bosses.
Why do you think I stopped you today? What do y'all think about that? Them changing that? We've all seen there's data that shows that.
Aren't you not supposed to incriminate yourself?
Exactly. You're not supposed to, but it's, I don't know.
Right. There's data that shows that cops stop black people way more than they do white people, especially in California. So what do y'all think this will change for just police stops and interactions?
Nothing. Because I don't really, what is it really supposed to change? Like, oh, I stopped you, I have to ask you why you think I stopped you first. Don't they already ask that? At least in the movies?
They ask you, like, do you know why I stopped
you today?
And then it's like a way for you to like freeze. And let me back up, dude. My take on it is just the fact that I think it would help when it comes to communities who have a lot of trauma with the police to kind of not be placed in that hot seat the first second. Because I know when I see a cop or I get pulled over, I tense up, and that question makes you like, have a response. So instead, I think that one is removing that. But two, I think it's also allowing for a lot of people to actually file more complaints against the police department if they do feel as if they are profiled, or and then also I think it also increases police officers' morality, I guess, on the job. I don't fucking know. So that they're not just abusing their power. It's like, I have to report, I have to know this, and it's on body cam. This is why I stopped you. And if one police officer is always stopping this person, oh, your blinker, oh, this, oh, that, it's like, are they following the right procedures? Did it escalate? Did it, I feel like it would just allow for better tracking of police stoppings. Hopefully make police officers aware that they can't just stop people just because they're fucking black. It just, providing more reasons for it. That's just my take on it.
I mean, I feel like that would be great if there were some other policies that I feel like would also need to be in place to make that even like work. Because now we already have so many cases of cops just turning off their body cam whenever they want. We have so many cases of cops just filing false police reports because they need to get their amount of stops up, or they just want to say that they did these stops. We have so many cases of police just not following the law in the first place. So it's just like we're just giving them more laws to follow, like they follow the ones already in place in the first place.
That's
facts. I'm biased, so I can't really speak. I'm just saying it's just easier. Hey, I pulled you over because you're speeding. Can I get your fucking license and registration and insurance?
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
To me, it's just a simple shit. It's just a simple change.
Yeah. Guys, Panthers.
I sit there and play that, and it's just probably a safety for cops as well.
Panthers.
My opinion, homicide, prolonging the interaction when it's like easy. Okay, stop and go, or stop, ticket, bye.
They can be in full medieval gear. Them niggas still gonna be scared. Do you know why I stopped you? Oh shit, he got a gun.
Right.
Yeah, little pussy eye.
Right. Panthers owner David Tepper fined $300K for tossing drinks at fans. Hold on.
I saw that.
For what?
Tossing a drink at fans. So owner David Tepper on Tuesday was fined $300,000 by the NFL for what the league called was an
$300 to like $1 billion franchise.
Called his quote, unacceptable conduct during Sunday's 26-0 loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tepper was caught on video throwing a drink in the direction of a Jaguars fan from his open-air suite in Jacksonville Everbank. I just want to read what he said. I should have let the NFL stadium security handle any issues that arose, he said. I respect the NFL's code of conduct and accept the league's discipline for the behavior. So what I want to tell y'all as backstory is this fine of $300K is 1.1% of David Tepper's wealth. So my question...
That's what's reported wealth, because I'm hearing a lot of this stuff isn't true, I guess.
Right. So what would y'all do if a billionaire hit y'all with a drink?
I'm falling, rolling down the steps.
Bro, I was thinking this the whole time. If somebody... And I'm on the stadium.
You ain't gonna know at the time. Well, you may know.
He's in the skybox.
He's in the skybox. You know that's the owner.
He threw that shit down at him.
Yeah, he threw it down at him. I'll have the video on the video for everybody to see. But I'm telling y'all, if that cut would have hit me, I would have had to get a like.
I'm allergic. Give me my epi. I would
have said that shit hit my eye. I would have rolled down all the motherfucking stadium steps. I'm all the way on the field now.
Shit, I wonder what he was drinking.
Budweiser.
Yeah,
White people. Did y'all see that nigga that attacked the judge?
Yes, I have been watching that.
That shit was funny, not funny.
Right, because you know that nigga's going to jail.
Oh yeah, he's
for good.
Bye.
He's definitely yeah. That shit was impressive how he was able to jump over the.
How did he do that? That was kind of. He needs to be in the Olympics.
Man.
That man.
But then I don't know. I want to watch the whole video for like when he was saying like, because I saw clips. He's like, no, I went to the program. I'm going to work. Like he was like explaining like, no, I'm doing this, and then you're telling me I'm about to be on probation. Right. And I think it was like a snap. It was like a bitch. What the fuck? And I think he like, he's like just rage. And I mean, it's not appropriate to have that in a courtroom. Like, but
that's what I'm saying. Like for something like that to happen, I'm like, what was the justification for that denial of the probation, or was it like a mental health case? Because that was wild.
That's wild.
That was wild. And the judge, she didn't even like look like she was expecting that. Security didn't look like they was expecting that. They're probably like, he's probably gonna try to grab like from behind the desk. They didn't think this man was finna Mario jump over that hoe.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was very unexpected. But like, nonetheless, it's like, damn, like any judge, safety, I feel like it also just speaks to like, I mean, mental health, one, but also like our criminal justice system too, but also just the fact that like, fuck around and find out. Like people really do not have like respect for authority that I think people think that they do. That's the check. Like, and that to me was even scarier. But I hope like, she's doing okay. I heard she didn't like, get like seriously injured in the altercation. But it was very surprising to watch. And
2024 is already crazy.
Funny to say the least.
It was funny for sure, but like, seeing a woman get beat, it's like, damn, I can't say it's too funny, but it's like it's in a court, like.
Well, Matt Rife would have said it was hilarious.
Yeah, it's only the first week of 2024 and it's already crazy. But
I'm saying. It's gonna be even crazier next week when I gotta go back to work.
All right, back to work.
Right. So. All right, guys. Thank you for watching the Rising Podcast. Your favorite podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your mama. Tell your cousin. Tell your brother. Peace.